Freedom Caucus member. I hope he becomes Speaker of the House. He's Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. You want to know why they've been going after him? Because he's good at what he does. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Sean. Sean, what's funny is that conversation, that hearing with FBI Director Wray was last December.
Yep.
We've been right on this issue for 8 months now. You've been right on this. We've been right on this. This idea that the dossier was the key, we found out over the weekend that, in fact, we were right. The dossier is what they led with at the FISA court. It wasn't credible. It wasn't validated. It wasn't corroborated. They led with it. They didn't tell the court who paid for it. They didn't tell the court that the guy who wrote it had been out leaking information. You and I go to court, we got to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. The FBI should have to do the same darn thing, and they did it. And we saw this coming 8 months ago, and Devin Nunes, as you pointed out, Sean, was vindicated as well. The memo he put out 7 months ago in January of this year.
Well, the point is, what happens now? Because I never understood. If you take the whole thing, I mean, our buddy Greg Jarrett, his book is out today. And I think the title of the book pretty much captures everything. The Russian hoax, the illicit scheme to clear Hillary Clinton, frame Donald Trump. And this is what we know happened. We know it's irrefutable. The evidence is incontrovertible. It is overwhelming in terms of her violating the Espionage Act, committing multiple felonies. And if there ever was a case for obstruction of justice, well, I think when you delete subpoenaed emails and you acid wash the hard drives with bleach bit and you break up the devices because they may have some of the emails on them as well, that's obstruction of justice. They literally bent over backwards to make sure their favored candidate doesn't get indicted, and then they turn the power of the state onto Donald Trump, even going as far as to lie to a FISA court. Now, you've got to tell me laws are broken here, because if this is allowed to stand and these people don't pay the price, Congressman, we've lost all constitutional safeties and provisions in this country.
Yep. No, I mean, and this was key. And who were the key players? Who were the key players in the Clinton investigation and the Russian investigation? FBI Director James Comey, who's been fired. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, fired, lied 3 times under oath, according to the Inspector General, faces a criminal referral. Chief of Staff Jim Rubicki has left the FBI. General Counsel Jim Baker was demoted and then left the FBI. FBI Counsel Lisa Page was demoted and left the FBI. And Deputy Director of Counterintelligence Peter Strzok was demoted, had his clearance taken away for a while, and is still at the FBI. Those were the key players. Those are the key players.
Well, when does somebody get held?
Important investigation.
When does somebody get held liable and responsible for crimes committed? Because this is all in an effort to steal a presidential election and undermine a duly elected president. At some point, somebody's got to be, I mean, if we're going to go back to 2005 and we're going to put Paul Manafort in jail for 23 hours a day over a tax issue for 2005, and he's sent to jail, spending 23 hours a day in a private cell, and he wasn't convicted yet of anything, we certainly need to get to the bottom of who's lying to judges and who rigged an investigation to cover up crimes and use the power and the authority of the Department of Justice and the FBI to do it.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. As you know, Sean, though, we can't put anyone in jail in the Congress. All we can do is ask the questions, try to get the documents in spite of the stonewalling we get from the Department of Justice, try to get the information and get answers for the American people. It's why we have called for a second special counsel. I don't like him, never have liked him, but I see no other remedy. We called for it a year ago this month, back in July.
I did too.
We called for it. You called for it as well, because how does the FBI investigate themselves? How does the DOJ investigate themselves? Remember what we also learned 2 weeks ago.
Can the president himself appoint a special counsel?
The president could release all the information and tell the DOJ to give us everything.
Why doesn't he do that? You think he should do it? I think so.
I do.
Sarah Carter thinks so. Greg Jarrett thinks so. Everybody that I know thinks so. Why isn't he doing it?
I assume it's people around him telling him not to. I don't know for sure. I know we have sent a letter from Mr. DeSantis, Mr. Meadows, and myself probably 6 weeks ago saying we should get all this released. We have learned that there's information just from the depositions we have taken. Depositions we took of Lisa Page a week ago. We have learned there's information that we don't believe they've given us based on what she told us in that deposition, and we're going to ask them again tomorrow. We're going to meet with some of these folks from the Department of Justice tomorrow. and we're going to say, where is this information that was pointed out in this transcript? Now, I'm not allowed to get into the details until that transcript is public, but we know, based on what she said, we think there's no way they've given us all the information that we're entitled to have to get the answers that the American people want us to get. So it is even worse. 2 weeks ago, we learned for the first time the FBI admitted that Bruce Orr gave parts of the dossier to the FBI. Bruce Orr, top official at the Justice Department.
What about John? How does John Brennan get to, as the CIA director, to spread unverified, uncorroborated lies? How do you go not once but 4 times? You haven't verified a thing in that dossier. And in an interrogatory, I've said this many times, Steele himself says it is not verified, maybe 50-50. He calls it raw intelligence. And how is it possible? Rod Rosenstein said famously in May that, well, those people, we put our name to it. We stand by it. Okay, he signed the last FISA warrant. Why is he still in his position currently? He signed off on a bunch of lies to investigate an opposition party candidate.
And if you remember when he was questioned about whether he read the application, the third renewal that he signed, he never did give us a clear answer whether he read it or not. He just went through this long, elaborate thing about how critical this is, how they check it all out. Well, they didn't really check out this dossier, according to Christopher Steele and according to Andy McCabe. He said Andy McCabe has said that the dossier wasn't substantiated before it was taken to the FISA court as well. So I couldn't agree more. We're going to keep digging. And frankly, as you said before, every thinking option's on the table. Mr. Rosenstein's not going to give us the information. Congress does have some ability to go after people who aren't doing what they need to do so we can do our constitutional duty, and that includes contempt and impeachment.
Let me ask you a different question on a different subject. I have said I'm holding off endorsing anybody for Speaker because if you announce you're going to run for Speaker, I would like to see you be the next Speaker of the House. I'm kind of tired of the fact that, Republicans, even on this issue, are particularly weak. In many ways, the only reason Republicans would ever see any type of blue wave this November is because a lot of these guys never kept their promises. But the Freedom Caucus has been in the forefront of keeping promises. Are you thinking about it?
I sure am, and I tell you who else has kept their word, and that's the President of the United States.
Yeah.
We tweeted this out the other day, Sean, and you know this. Lower taxes, reduced regulations, economy growing, unemployment at its lowest, Gorsuch on the court, Kavanaugh on deck, Iran deal is finished, we're out of that deal, embassies in Jerusalem, and the hostages have come home from North Korea.
By the way, you say all of this faster than I do, and I think I speak pretty fast. Good for you. You should be in this chair. No one can take your place. But think about that. And James Comey says vote Democrat. Are you kidding me? In light of what this by anyone? Well, let me ask you about that. Stay right there.
A year and a half is amazing.
Jim Jordan is with us, Freedom Caucus member, thinking about running for Speaker. We'll continue on the other side with him. All right, as we continue, Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio, Congressman, also a member of the Freedom Caucus. I guess you were the chairman, and then I guess you got dethroned by Meadows. What happened there?
No, we had.
He better be so quick to jump in your grave.
You serve two. You serve one Congress, and then you allow someone else. And Mark has been a tremendous chairman, and of course he's probably my best friend here in Washington. He's a great guy, and I think doing a good job leading our group. I
got to be honest, and I say this publicly all the time. I am tired of Republicans being weak, spineless, feckless, visionless, and I really blame them more than I blame the Democrats. Now, this election is really about a Democratic Party that hates Trump. They want to impeach him. This is their agenda. Yep. They want open borders. Look at how they want to abolish ICE. They want to keep Obamacare. They want their crumbs back. And they also don't want the president to make any Supreme Court nominations, even though that is his constitutional authority and duty. But they don't. I have not heard one positive thing that they're offering the American people. Not one.
No, they're completely out of touch with where the American people are. Particularly, I think, voters across the Midwest who Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, who all put President Trump in the White House, who understood that his vision, what he wants to do on border security, what he wants to do on reducing taxes, reducing regulations so our economy can grow. We're hitting 4% growth, Sean. 4% growth. We didn't even come close to that.
Wait a minute. Did you see Barclays yesterday adjusted their second quarter GDP prediction to 5.3%? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we'll get the GDP numbers on Friday. I mean, by all accounts, it looks like we're going to at least be at 4%, which is record-breaking.
Of course, this is Reagan-esque type numbers, and the type of leadership I think we're getting from the president is Reagan-esque as well. So this is what is I think going to help the Republicans this election. We just got to focus on continuing to do what we told the American people we were going to do. If we do that, the Democrats and all their crazy ideas, I think, speak for themselves, and we'll be just fine in November.
Yeah. Last question. Do you think that there are some people, I'm worried about, what do you say to people whose congressman is a rhino and they might be hesitant to either stay home? How important is this that the Republicans keep control of the House because the Democrats want to impeach him?
No, it's critical. And you said it. They will, if they take over the House, they will move to impeach President Trump. In spite of all the great things that have happened a year and a half, they will definitely do that. That's why it's critical we hold on to the majority.
So, in other words, you and I are saying the same thing. Even though you have a rhino weak Republican, you got to suck it up.
Yeah, you got to vote Republican because, I mean, look what the Democrats, like you said, they want to abolish ICE. Democrat Socialist is now the key part of their coalition, their party. I mean, this is scary. So, yeah, you have to vote Republican. We need Republicans to keep a majority so that we can keep President Trump in the office and there's not an impeachment process that unfolds.
All right, Jim Jordan, congressman from the great state of Ohio. By the way, I'm sorry you went through that smear campaign, and I knew it was a lie from day one. And but you know what? They do it to anybody that supports the president. It was just your turn.
Yep. No, you know what?
Oh, and by the way, congratulations.
Thank you.
I heard your son got married. Congratulations.
Yeah, he did. Thank you. Wonderful young lady. Yes, thank you.
No, he probably married up like his father. That's what I'm guessing.
Exactly. Totally.
All right, Congressman, appreciate it. Thank you.